Hi, Capricorn. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for November 2019. For you, Capricorn, there's going to be some interesting activity in the 11th house of Friends and the 12th house of Solitude. And we're going to start with Julia saying some stuff about love and action, Venus and Mars. What's up with those things, Julia?
All right, Jamie. So I guess the first planet I want to talk about is Venus. She's the planet of art, beauty, relationships. And for you, Capricorn, on the very 1st of November, when she moves into Sagittarius, she's going to be moving into your natal 12th house. And the 12th house, it is a very mysterious house. It is a very secluded house. And, Venus being a social planet, she just becomes a little less social when she's in this position. So you might not feel like just kind of running out and making lots of friends or going to, events and stuff like that. You might just be a little bit more withdrawn socially this month. But Venus is also where we find pleasure as well. So you may be really, really enjoying spending some time by yourself. It could just be making you feel a little bit better. And, that's not a bad thing in of itself. Then she's going to be moving into your sign of Capricorn after November 25th, which correlates to your first house.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful time for any type of beautification that you want to do for yourself. If you want to kind of buy some things to make yourself look better or get a haircut, and you'll be kind of embodying Venus because this first house is the house of self. So, you'll become a little extra social after the first part of the month where you might just be a little bit more withdrawn. Then the next planet I want to talk about is Mars, which is going to be in Libra as the month begins, which correlates with your 10th house of career. So Mars can do pretty well in this house because it's the house of Capricorn, which is Mars's exaltation. So you might be super energized on the career front in terms of kind of getting out there, applying a lot of your focus and a lot of your drive towards work. But because Mars can sometimes be a bit on the feisty side, watch out for any types of conflicts in the workplace as well, or sort of rubbing your boss the wrong way because you really think that you know what's best for the workplace. So watch out for that a little bit. And then Mars is going to be moving into Scorpio on November 18th, which is in your natal 11th house. And that is the house of groups of all kinds. So that means that you're going to probably be spending a lot of time socializing with friends, getting out there or organizing groups together. If you're on any group chats in your phone, they might be blowing up like crazy around that time. But again, Mars can be a little feisty, so you might run into conflict within those friendship groups as well. And then what else is going on this month?
Well, we have a Mercury retrograde period in Scorpio. And that begins actually on October 31st. So even as the month begins, Mercury is already retrograde right here in your 11th house. And one really big marker comes along when Mercury has what I like to call Epiphany Day. I call it Lesser Epiphany Day because there are two Epiphany days in Mercury's cycle. And it has to do with Mercury coming into a conjunction with the Sun. This one, the Lesser Epiphany Day, is when Mercury is going backwards, the Sun is going forwards, and they meet in a blaze of insight, a blaze of aha. And so, if you've been struggling and suffering with the Mercury retrograde period, if it has, there it is in your 11th house, right? And you like to have powerful friends, right? Scorpio in your 11th house. So if this turns out to be a time when you have to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations, when maybe people pop up from the past, or you have to have, you find yourself in vulnerable moments, in conversation with people, it's certainly not any fun, but the results can be wonderful. There is a full moon in Taurus that's happening right around the same time as Epiphany Day. Epiphany Day itself is on November 11th, right there. And then on the 12th, here it is, the full moon in Taurus is happening in your 5th house, opposite that Sun and Mercury in Scorpio in the 11th house. And this could really, I think, feel like a great support to you, Capricorn, because the moon loves to be in Taurus. It's another earth sign, just like your earth sign. And I think it's going to ground you in your own self, in your own creativity, in a way that could feel really good as a balancer to all of the, emotionally charged communication that could potentially be going on in your friendships this month. And what I've been saying about the full moon in Taurus is that it can be an occasion for catharsis that doesn't even have to hurt. And so, sometimes Capricorn, it's a good idea to take off the armor and be a little bit vulnerable, especially with those few friends that you really care about and you really trust and that you can really sink in with. Later in the month, a delightful new moon in Sagittarius is coming. And that's going to be on the 26th, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Now, we're going to feel these moons usually the day before, the day of, and the day after. So don't think that it's just limited to that specific day. We're going to feel it as early as the 25th, but right here it is. The sun in Sagittarius, the moon is right there with it. And this Sagittarius new moon, like the Taurus full moon, has a lot of harmony in it. This is a paradoxical month because Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is going to be pretty uncomfortable and leave a lot of us feeling vulnerable and raw and exposed. But at the same time, the harmony of these moons is going to give us the opportunity to feel a lot of things that maybe we were uncomfortable to feel and to come away seeming, like it was okay to feel that stuff. So this new moon in Sagittarius, I've been calling this the party moon before winter. It's kind of a last opportunity to really have some fun. And Sagittarius is a sign of tolerance, of acceptance, of multiculturalism, and expansion and growth. So this is, and being a new moon, I like to talk about new moons as times for planting seeds, for new beginnings. So new beginnings of just that kind are really, really appropriate. This is falling in your 12th house of charity, of compassion, not just of solitude, although Julia, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because this is a house of retreat and contemplation. But it's also a house of giveaway, as the Native Americans would call it, of giving back. And so this new moon is a great time for planting seeds for that. Capricorn, if you felt like you wanted to get a reading this month and you were to ask me my opinion, I would say that a natal or transit reading is probably the best way to go because it's that time of the year when your year is beginning to draw to a close, but your new year hasn't really started to kick in yet. That's not going to happen until your birthday, and there's still a little time before then. So some contemplation, some turning inward, some thinking ahead to 2020 probably make a lot of sense, and a reading is a great place to do that stuff. Well, that's all we have for you today, Capricorn. Thanks for watching. If you want to find more of the news of the month, you can always find that on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology. There will be November news playlist and also horoscopes gathered there in their playlist so that you can go back and watch the one for your sun sign if this was your rising sign. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.